Hey folks, Chris Waters here at EA Studio Showcase. We're checking out Dragon Age Origins, and I'm with Mike Laidlaw. Mike, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Mike, I'd love to talk to you today about putting the origins in Dragon Age Origins. How do you start off a character? How does it all begin?
Well, we wanted to make sure that we expanded on the sense of the world and introduced it to you in a unique way, depending on the choices you made right from the very beginning of the game. So you make a character, pick a race, pick kind of a situation you're in. Are you a commoner? Are you a noble? Are you a mage? All of these provide you with a custom experience. So you have a good hour of gameplay to basically get your feet wet in the world of Ferelden, explore the world from your point of view. And that launches you into the game with a new perspective and actually affects how the game plays out later on.
Okay, so can you give us an example? Pick a race, pick a class, tell us how that would play out.
Sure. Well, one we're showing today would be Dwarf Commoner, and that one is one that I think really helps define sort of the concept of dark fantasy, right? To give a fantasy more edge than it's had in the past. So we've shown that off, and really, Dwarf Commoner, you begin with your mob boss that you do dirty work for, threatening to throw your sister out in the street if you don't, pay up and get the job done, and if she doesn't hunt down a noble and bed him. So that leaves you in kind of this like, wow, geez, that's a harsh situation. And then you find yourself kind of being his peon, but at the same time able to work around him, kind of screw him over, steal money from him, all these kinds of things. So you realize that as a dwarf in the lower caste of society, you have to do what it takes to survive. And you still find yourself kind of impelled into the game, becoming a Grey Warden, and ultimately, leading the charge against the Darkspawn and the Blight. Yet, someone who chose a different origin would have a completely different experience and reason for doing that.
And they'd come from a completely different background. So as a commoner, you're the lowest of the low. Now, is it possible to stay virtuous in that kind of world?
It is, though it's hard. It's hard fought. I mean, it's certainly a gray situation, but there are ways to kind of work your way around it. Maybe let a couple guys slide where you shouldn't because your boss doesn't want you to. But yeah, we want to make sure that you can choose how you do it and that people will remember how you treated them if you ever come back home.
Now, that's an interesting question. Now, so once you've sort of launched out and you've become a Grey Warden, give us an example of how that you might come back home, or it might tie in. You might run across somebody from your past.
Well, I mean, it's in the beginning of the Commoner, you're starting Dust Town, the lowest reaches of the Dwarven city, and the dwarves are noted allies. I mean, they constantly fight the Darkspawn. They're one of the great defenders, and they're allies of the Grey Wardens. And when you become a Warden, well, you need allies. You need as many as you can get. So you're going to be coming home and trying to recruit the dwarves to help get them part of your army, which completely turns the tail because when you start as a commoner, you're the bottom of the bottom, and now suddenly you're calling for soldiers.
And you're calling them up, and now are they going to be more willing to come if you've been nice to them, or are they going to say, hey, no dice, scumbag?
You'll see, well, that's the thing. You'll see both of those, I think. You'll see reactions to how you treated, certainly at the beginning, and then you'll see things that play out differently because you're a commoner. I mean, you've got a brand on your face that marks you that way, whereas a noble, of course, is from, like, the ruling family of the house. So, how will that play out politically? Well, I'll let people find out for themselves, but I'll tell you, it's definitely different.
Well, it sounds pretty excellent. Sounds like it's a great, deep way to really grab people into the game. Now, can you give us a holler about when we can expect to see this game?
Yeah, you'll be seeing it on the PC, the Xbox, and the PS3, all October 20th.
Can't wait for it, Mike. Thanks for your time.
No problem. Thanks.
All right, cheers. For more on the latest here at EA Studio Showcase, keep it tuned to GameSpot.com.